Alright, we're back. What I did is I came down, that edge is cut up there because it broke loose. Cut just a couple out, as you can see. On the bottom I did more so because it's a wide area. I'm going to make it a little bit easier to work in there. Oh, my phone went off. It was actually an email from my Gmail account telling me somebody subscribed to my channel with my one video. So what we're going to do is we're going to work this back in here. Going to fight me the whole way again, even though it's half of what it was. Now, let me show you what I wanted to show you before I had to take a break and cut this more. If I can get it in there. Okay. Your tabs down here are actually going to be in one square, come down like this, and you're going to twist this tab so that you're going to twist it so it's flat then, but it's going to hook in there. So you don't have to, but that's the way I'm doing it, is I'm just making it come in the square. It just seems to sit easier for me. Now, the part that you want to make sure you get is you want to try and get a very good angle. Like I said, you want about 1.5 inches, which is 1.5 squares. I'm having a heck of a time here. 1.5 squares down, which will be right here. So that's a pretty good angle, pretty good slope. If you were doing the two-door system like I did before, you might want a little bit steeper so that you have more room in the middle for your bait. Since we're going to do the one-door system and the bait's going to actually be farther to the back, it can be more sloped, and this way our door's in the back here. And I might even take these off and put zip ties on here to show you how to do the zip tie then. Just for video purposes, to show people. So, now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, get it to where we want it, positioned where we want it. Maybe, I think that's going to be good. We're in a learning phase. Do the same thing you did before. Bend the tabs over. Just bend them to lock it in place, whichever way you can bend them. As long as they're not sticking out and jagging you in your hand, then they're good. Same thing with over here. Now, what you're going to notice is you're actually going to probably have a gap right here because you cut this one a little bit smaller. Could have cut this one 12 inches since this one's not actually moving. It can be 12 inches. It's going to make it tight though, and you're not going to be able to get your tabs in. As you can see here though, I'm not going to be able to bend them tabs over, which is why it's important that I got the bottom ones here that I can bend over. And I'm going to need... It's a learning process. It's just something, like I said, I threw together in maybe a half hour, maybe a little bit more. I didn't really time myself. But you learn as you go. Which is why I also ask for any likes that you give me. Subscribe if you want. Any comments are most definitely welcomed. Any questions, any kind of ideas for improvements, anything like that, please. I'm more than welcoming them. Anything you got, anything you want to know, any kind of videos you want me to try and post. I usually try and get a lot of stuff done around the house, but I always have free time. What I'm doing is I'm bending these little bit of tabs I have here, and they're actually, that one I'm going to snip. Yep, see that piece flew. I should be wearing safety glasses. Just trying to bend them so that they're not sticking out. If I can bend them over something, I'm going to. Like there, I hooked him a little bit. Now that bottom piece there is secured. Pretty good. I'm going to take a piece of wire and tie this edge in here real quick. And again, I can't find my wire. Nothing new there. It's on the floor again. Just take a piece of small wire, hook it into like a V, bring it back through. I dropped it. Get a little bigger piece of wire here. I've got so many tools and stuff around here and I can never find them. Between me and my friend working on taxidermy stuff here constantly, losing tools, losing drill bits. I've got like 20 different kinds of wire around here and I can never find them when I need them. That's just going to hold that there. And dispose of that. It fell on the floor. Pick it up quick. Now that's tight. It's not going anywhere. It's good. Should hold anything that gets in there for crayfish wise. Now that's a pretty easy design. It's actually a little bit easier than the dual door that I have over there, this back door. Recommendations, if you are going to make one with the back door like this, which is what I'm going to make my next one like too. I do like the 2-door a lot, but this is a lot simpler, and I think it'll work just as well. Crayfish, I might not get as much because they might not find their way into it, but I think it'll work just as well. Make the door 12 inches wide, 5 inches, so you don't have it sitting inside like I do. And same thing with this side over here. Make this piece 12 so that it fits in there better, instead of 11 and a half and 11 and a half and 4 and a half like I did on this side, where I cut it a little bit narrower. And I'm actually gonna have a lot left over probably, and I might rebuild this door later, but that's gonna work a lot better. Well, more convenient. Let's put it that way. It'll be more convenient than the 2-door system. I might even take that 2-door system I already have, depending on how well I like these, and I'm going to test them out and stuff and see how easy they are. I might even change that 2-door back into a 1-door with a lock on the back. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our cylinder down here. Now, the cylinder, since this is a 5-inch piece, you're going to want a 5-inch cylinder. There's a 5-inch thing, you're going to want a 5-inch cylinder, which is going to be right here. You just hand measure that if you want. You want it to come up flush to the top from the bottom. Okay? Because you want to rough it out first. Try and get it to where you want it first. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make this. I want it in the center near the back. And I'm not going to make it a big cylinder because I'm not using big bait. So about that was good. And I'll wire tie that shut or tab it. I'm going to put it in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit this down, and I'm going to show you here in a second. I'm going to trim this piece quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this basket, fold the tabs over just like you did anything else. And this is probably the easiest one to do. If you have sensitive fingers, I recommend wearing some kind of glove because your hands will hurt at the end of the day. I stopped one away from the top. Whoops, sorry. I stopped one away from the top because we're going to actually snip this top off yet, because as you can see it is just a bit taller. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to set this in the center here, right where I want to put my bait, and I'm going to mark it out roughly. I want it that I can sit it just snugly down through. So, let me show you what I'm saying here. There's my thing, my cylinder. I marked it just enough that it will literally just sit through, because it's not going to have to come out. It's not going to have to come out or into there. Once we get it down in, we're going to take them tabs, bend them through the top, and secure it tight, so that we're going to have, let me show you the finished product. We're going to have the cylinder in there, and this is the bottom of the cage. This way you can take off your tab, flip open your gate, there's your cylinder. It's attached to the top of the cage. You can put food down in, flip your little trap door back on top of it, which might be difficult to see, I'm not sure. And then you just hook it back, and there you go. So let me set that down there. So, I marked it out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to, if I can move some stuff around here, take my shears real quick. By the way, the whole thing that kicked off this beginning the crayfish thing is I got really bored, was online. I don't know how I got onto crayfish exactly. And before I know it, I was looking at traps. One guy was actually making a crayfish farm in Texas, which is actually something I'm going to end up doing, is probably getting a small fish tank or a container. Because of my work, I'll probably be able to get out Friday nights, drop my pots, check them Saturdays, and check them Sundays. And depending on how many crayfish I actually get, in PA you're only allowed to keep 50 in your possession at a time. Depending on how many I actually get, I might not have enough to worry with. Now see, here's our hole we cut out. Now I'm going to take this piece of plywood and slide it down in here so you can see it a little bit better. Here's our hole we just cut out. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take what's left of our small piece, lay it over. As you can see, it's going to come just to the edge here and just to the edge up here. And then we're going to bring it 1 square or 2 squares down. We're going to loop it there, 2 squares up, cut it off, and then we're going to make a hook. Anyways, like I was saying, the PA game laws here state you can only have 50 in possession at any time, blah, 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 of wild crayfish used for bait or consumption. So, that being said, you can only keep 50. If I only catch 10 decent ones the first weekend, and I don't want to cook up just 10 because I have a pretty big cooker I use for doing about 3 dozen crab at a time, I'll be able to put them in a tank with a pump, keep them alive, and actually purge them. Now, in the videos I've seen online, a lot of people pour salt on them and fill them with water and all the mud comes out. Well, all they're really doing is cleaning the shells and getting them to spit up a little bit of mud that's in their lungs. To truly purge the crayfish, from what I've read and a lot of the larger sites that I've seen that actually commercialize this stuff, they recommend putting them in a tank for up to 24 hours or longer in running water with like an aeration system, which would be what I'm going to attempt to do, pretty much like a fish tank in a way, keeping them alive for 24 hours in an aerated area. Pardon my shakiness here. In an aerated area, and it actually helps them clean them out. So you'll see when you're eating them, the vein, like in a shrimp, isn't as big. 1 tab too high. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut that last row off and leave 1 tab sticking above. And I'll show you as soon as I'm done. So if I build a tank and I only catch, say, 10 the first weekend, and I don't want to cook just 10, or I'm having some friends over for like a crab fry or something, I want to serve some crawdads as well, and I didn't catch enough, or it's in 2 weekends, this way I'll be able to, in a sense, keep them in like a fish tank or a live well, to keep them alive until I get my limit or until I get enough, which will also help purge them, so on and so forth. Take that board out. What we're going to do is we're going to drop this straight down through the hole. That's going to land right on our hook. So we're going to take that hook off for now. Whoops. Want to get it just about as straight down there as you can so it's easy to drop your bait in. Of course it's catching. There we go. Just like that. Flip it. And secure it with the tabs. Just bend them tabs down. And this way I'll be able to keep them for a little bit longer. I'm not breeding them for any purposes. I'm just hanging on to them until I have more to eat, which I've never done, so I might get these and discover after catching 3 traps worth of crawdads that I don't care for the way they taste. But what sparred me in the whole instance of catching crawfish and wanting them after seeing a few videos online, and just like that, its tabs are bent down and it sits in there perfectly. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the bottom back on it, which is our little gate. We're going to take some of that thin wire, which is down here on the floor again, I'm trampling it all to pieces. See what we're going to do. We're going to find the end of it here. I'm going to cut a chunk off and keep up here. Anyways, what sparred this was I had an intern one summer, and he was telling me about how he wanted to go to Louisiana to try to eat some crawdads down there because he loved Louisiana crawfish. And I'd said I'd never eaten them before, and he says, why don't you just go catch some? I said, well, you can't eat crawfish in Pennsylvania. Which made no sense to me, but someone told me that, so I believed it. And he said, yeah, you can, you could eat them, blah, blah, blah. Well, from the only difference that I can find is the white crawfish, I believe, is what PA has. Louisiana actually has them too. They just have the red ones, which are a lot bigger and produce a little bit more. But from the only reason people would say is you can't eat crawfish is because they said the water's poisoned in PA or whatever the reason was that all the mercury, I guess. But if you're fishing an approved trout stream, you can eat them too. You're just supposed to take it in strides. Purging them in water for so many hours will also help get rid of anything that might be in their system. But I did some research online, posted a few things online, and people said pretty much the same thing. You know, as long as you're getting them out of a place that you're allowed to keep fish from, there's no harm in eating them. They're just smaller than the red ones. And I really wanted to try them, but I didn't want to spend $60 for a 5-pound bag of Louisiana ones and have them shipped to me live and then have to cook them when they get here. And I don't think any of my friends are going to try them, so, you know, this is just something I wanted to do. So here we are. I'm building 3 crayfish traps and putting them on YouTube to see how they work, because the traps I saw on YouTube were all cylinders, and I was really trying to find the square trap and just couldn't locate one anywhere, so I figured I'll be the first one to post one that I can find. We're just trying to make a little loop here now to secure this door. I might break this video into 2 halves. I'm not sure yet, so depends on how, because it took like 40 minutes to load that last video, which was only 9 minutes. Alright, same thing as before. Bend that, take a heavier wire. I'm going to take this heavy wire. This camera's viewfinder is really a pain. Alright. Now, I'm going to zoom in here, or just going to pick it up and show you, because the zoom's a pain. What we did is we took that, looped it, wire tied that, made a hook, just like we did for the back. Same concept. That'll hook, hold that door down, which I got to pull this a little bit tighter. Again, I apologize for my crude video skills. I'm doing this by myself. Just like that. The hook's tight, pulls this little door down. The door was just 2 squares wider, 2 squares wider, which I showed you already. Same thing as the other concept. And that actually completes the trap, since we're only doing the, well, that would actually be pretty much the trap either way, because the other one would have the same concept of the door flipping open on the back. And as you can see here, the door, I'm having a real difficult time. As you can see here, the door flipped open here on the back when I was messing with it. Oh no, I took it off because we were putting that bait pile in there. And that's that. It's pretty simple, kind of crude, pretty easy though. I'm going to probably attach strings to 2 sides of it so I can pick it straight out of the water, because like I said before, I do most of this out of the kayak because my boat's motor isn't good enough. So another good thing about these is they're flat. I can stack them on top of each other in front of my kayak, paddle to the spot where I'm dropping them, drop it straight down so it lands like that. Bait's on the bottom, hooked in. When I pull it up, I can pull it up, pull that tab off, dump them into the bucket in front of me, pull this open, put some new bait in if it needs it, refresh the bait or throw the old bait out, clip that back there. Now, I'm going to do here real quick is what I was saying earlier, the zip ties. What I was saying about the zip ties earlier. You could take a zip tie, and I had a whole bunch of little ones. I'm not sure what happened to them. Come down through here, like this. And I can't really see too well here. Just through here, where you put them 2 loops with them metal circles, you could easily zip tie that. Bring that zip tie, if you have a small enough one, right down to a perfect circle like that, and that'll hold it. Hope you guys like them. Hope somebody makes some of them. Maybe make some improvements, you know, something a little bit better. Maybe makes a better improvement. Something that would work, but I don't know how you would do it, is we used, when we did these crab pots down at the bay, for the gates, we actually had bungee cords going across here with the hooks, so you could pull them as tight as you wanted, hook them into the crate, hold it shut. Same thing with the back. Rubber bands would work good here if they wouldn't degrade and break loose in the water. So if there's any kind of thing that you could think of that might work here, like a bungee or something, maybe something like the material on duck weights, not the PVC stuff, because that stuff gets cold and breaks and is pretty much junk, but something like a bungee that's stretchable that would work good for this, that I'm not thinking of right now because I'm drawing a blank and I got a million things I got to get done yet here this evening. Let me know if there's some kind of bungee or something like that, material that would work better here. Let me know. I'm going to look for zip ties, and I think I'm going to replace all these rivets with small zip ties, because they'll hold a little bit. They might not hold as good, but they're not going to break within the year, hopefully. I mean, there's not like there's a lot of strain on them. They're just pretty much there to hang on to it. But if anyone can think of anything a little bit better for this, like a bungee material, let me know. Put it in the comments. I don't know if you can send me a message directly, because I really don't check the Gmail account. It just alerts me when stuff happens. Put it in the comments. Maybe you have any comments, questions. These aren't patented by me, obviously. There's hundreds of designs like these out there. These are just, this is my twist on it. So let me know, and hopefully I'll have some videos up here of me testing them out. I got a small creek behind my house here. Maybe I'll throw them in here some, just see if I can catch and release any crayfish, just to see how well they work, and maybe get some, try some baits. I might catch some bait fish and use them as bait, depending. So let me know, questions, comments, anything. Thanks.